tonight's live episode of the Second Syndicate. We have a real special guest here tonight. We have Congressman Jeff Crank. Thank you so much for being here tonight, sir.
Thank you both for having me. I appreciate it.
And always, we have my co-host, Alicia Garcia.
Hey guys, how you guys doing out there? We really appreciate you joining us tonight. We really are very excited to have you here. We've been wanting to get the Congressman here on the show for quite some time, but as you know, he's busy
man
doing his job, so that's a good thing.
It's a very good
but
thing.
Without further ado, we'll just jump right in. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hey, it's awesome to be here, and it's awesome to talk about such important issues, and particularly around the Second Amendment. So excited about it.
Yes, sir.
So why don't we just introduce you to everybody out there?
Okay.
Tell us where you're from, what brought you here, what your journey was, and what led you to Congress.
Sure. Well, I'm just an average American guy, you know, and I love telling the story. I was born and raised in Pueblo, Colorado.
Oh, no,
just
no,
an
no.
hour away from Colorado Springs. And, you know, grew up in a very middle-class family. I always tell folks, I don't think my dad probably made more than $35,000 a year ever. He raised 5 kids. We never really wanted anything, you know. We just kind of got along, and was raised hunting and fishing with my dad. He was kind of my best friend to go out and do that kind of stuff with. And so that's a big part of my life, really, is the outdoors as well. But did that and saw through like the years of Ronald Reagan, I saw he was my political hero, Ronald Reagan. Yeah. And so he sort of inspired me to want to defend and protect liberty, right? And not only our Constitution, but our Bill of Rights.
Absolutely.
And so from that, I got into politics. I went to Colorado State University, got my degree in political science there.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And then I decided when I graduated, like, I've got to do something with this. I can either go flip hamburgers, like most poli-sci majors do,
Right.
or I can go do something with it. And so I decided, I threw everything I had into a horse trailer. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
And I drove to Washington, D.C.
Nice.
and decided I'm going to try and get a job here. So I didn't know anybody. I walked around and I handed my resume out in
the good old days.
all of the Republican offices. I just walked around and handed my resume. What I didn't know is I was handing it to the young intern who also wanted the job I was trying to
that
get.
you were competing with.
So as soon as I walked out, they went, "Oh, that's really nice. Thank you." And they threw it in the trash.
Yeah.
But I had a congressman who took pity on me, Joel Hefley, who was the congressman from Colorado Springs.
Okay.
And so I got my first job. I worked for him, was opening the mail. I made $17,000 a year in Washington, D.C., opening the mail.
So you were living with how many roommates at the time?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, actually, at the time, I was engaged to my wife, who I've been married to now for 34 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
You're a lucky man.
I'm a very lucky man. Very lucky man.
I'm surrounded by
I had the pleasure of
those.
meeting her the other night. Yeah, she's a sweet lady.
But her dad was in the Army, and so he lived out in Washington, D.C. And so I actually lived in their basement, my in-laws, future in-laws' basement.
Sure.
So I didn't have to have 15 roommates and split one loaf of bread.
That's
so
good.
it was good.
That's good. It's better life.
Yeah, that's right. But did that, and then I became his chief of staff and did his defense work and tried to keep our local military installations open.
Sure.
Did a lot of that work, and then wanted to come back home to Colorado because this is my home. And so I basically got a job with the Colorado Springs Chamber of Commerce, became a business guy, opened a business flipping houses. And so I flipped houses here in Colorado Springs for a while, built spec homes for a while. And that was my company. And then founded a liberty organization called Americans for Prosperity. I founded the Colorado chapter here.
Nice.
And built that up, became the chief operating officer of the National Americans for Prosperity organization. And while I was doing all of that, I got to start a radio show. And so I spent 14 years doing talk radio here in Colorado Springs. That led, and by the way, I got fired from that job during COVID.
Oh, really?
Because they wanted me to take the vaccine.
And you wouldn't do it.
And I wouldn't take the vaccine. So
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I said, look, you don't own me.
Matter. Yeah.
So they
Yes,
said,
they
well, we'll have to fire you. I said, that's okay. Fire me. So they did. And then I went and started a podcast. And I built the podcast. It was called American Potential.
Yeah.
And I was the
Nice.
host. And it was
like that name.
talking about liberty and freedom, and
I'd probably say your podcast was more effective and successful than the radio show.
it became much more
Yeah,
successful because it
absolutely.
was right at the time too where podcasts were getting more successful and talk radio
Absolutely.
was sort of taking a little bit of a dive.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we built that to a kind of a titan, a national podcast. It's still going today. There's a new host for it.
Okay.
And then the job of Congress opened up. And so I ran. I'm a freshman, so I've been there 9 months, almost 9 months
How's
now.
it going? How do you like it?
I love it. I mean, I love it. It's amazing. I mean, first of all, it's the honor of my lifetime. I grew up in Pueblo. I never thought for a minute that I would be elected to the Congress of the United States. This is the greatest country in the world. And the greatest deliberative body in the world is the Congress of the United States. And so to be able to have 750,000 of my neighbors
That's nice.
elect me and say, we want you to go represent us. I mean, I'll never have a better honor than that, you know? So it's so cool to be it. And it's just a lot of fun being there.
And we actually have a mutual friend that is now in state office.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Shout out to
Flannel.
Shout out to our friend Ava Flannel.
Ava Flannel is going to do a great job in House
She
District
is.
14.
I really think
Yeah.
she is. That was that vacancy appointment, that vacancy election was definitely close. Came down to the wire, but I think the right person got it at the end.
Yeah.
I'm expecting big things from her.
And look, I would have supported whoever won and
Absolutely.
came out of that because we got to support Republicans,
Yes,
right?
we do. Right now, we do
Republicans
definitely.
are pro Second Amendment.
They
now
are.
we have a
Then they
few
need to
that
start
aren't.
acting like it.
Yeah, and they do need to start acting like it. We have a few that aren't.
Yep.
But for the most part, that issue delineates us.
Yes, it does.
And you know, to be honest, sadly, and I was talking to somebody the other day about they were asking about just being in Congress and how hard is it to work with Democrats? And I said, well, look, on some issues, abortion and on guns, the Democrats have totally run anybody who has a counter view on those issues
Correct.
out of their party.
Yes.
There are no pro-life Democrats.
Not
there are
anymore.
almost no pro-Second Amendment
Yeah.
Democrats
Very
anymore.
rare.
And they're not
run them
allowed
out.
to be.
They're not allowed to be. They primary them and they get rid of
It's a
them.
purity test.
It's a purity
It
test.
comes down to
Yeah.
that, and I think it's
Right.
to their own detriment. I think Democrats right now are at record lows for voter enrollments for their party. I've seen the numbers; it's looking pretty depressing for them. So we'll see how 2026 goes. I'm hoping it goes our way. I think it will go our way. I want to see you back in office, of course.
Yeah.
And you have
we're
our
gonna
full
make sure
support.
that
Well,
Well,
we have you
that's
here.
awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
We love it.
Yeah.
We love it. Just for the people out there, we met the congressman a couple months back at
Yep.
a Young Republicans event.
Yes.
And we were like, we need to hang out with that guy more.
Yeah, to say that the Republican Party isn't thriving in Colorado is just not true. If you go to the Young Republicans event, I believe the Young Republicans chapter for El Paso County is one of the largest in the nation, and it's only growing.
Yeah.
So
And let's get some more in other schools.
100%. We need to get more people involved in this movement, involved in the Republican Party or the Libertarian Party, whichever one is their preference. But we need to support candidates that will deliver on the Constitution and protect our Second Amendment right.
And I want people also to understand, it's not like we're sitting here and we're like, we hate Democrats. That's not the truth. I wouldn't care if somebody was a Democrat. We actually had, what was his name?
The gentleman running down in Trinidad, I can't remember, for state senates. I can't remember.
Yeah, he
his
came
name off
out
the top.
to one of our protests.
Right.
He's a Democrat. He showed up at one of
But
our
he was
Pro
pro
2A.
2A.
And it's
Okay.
like, right
Don't know if
on.
he's going to make it through the primary. But he was pro 2A.
How great would it be? We have 435 members in the House of Representatives. If we had a pro-gun bill
Right.
that came through Congress
That
and
could
we
get
had
them-
400 votes, I'd love
It'd be
it.
amazing.
Yeah.
It would
It'd
be
amazing.
awesome. And
It'd
you
be
know,
amazing.
we used to have that. We used to have a lot of, particularly Southern Democrats who
Yes,
were
we did.
pro
Blue dogs.
Second Amendment.
Yes, sir.
They're just gone now.
They're extinct.
Sadly, yeah.
Calling
Unfortunately,
all
that's the
blue
party's
dog Democrats, if
We
you're
need
out
a
there.
few. We do.
We don't hate you.
That's right.
Like, we are definitely a pro 2A show and we're pro 2A people. So, you know, we have other beliefs. I have conservative values. I wouldn't say that I'm, you know, super far gone conservative crazy or super the other way. You know, I'm a God-fearing human being. I
Right.
believe in life. I believe people have a right to defend life. I just think that right now that just by being pro 2A, they automatically assume, you know, anytime they see, you know, I'm wearing a Second Syndicate shirt, anything that has any gun related anything on it, it's automatically, you're a fascist, you're a racist, you are.
We've gotten so far in
All
our
of these
echo
things.
chambers in this country where it's the other side is evil, and we've seen that. You know, with what recently happened with Charlie Kirk and all
Yeah.
all these political attempts, these politically motivated assassination attempts, things of that nature. It's unfortunate as a nation because we can't have these conversations anymore. We used to be able to have civil discussion, and unfortunately, that's not the case anymore.
Well, and it's sad because you have people on that side who are calling us fascists, but what do? They try and assassinate people to shut them down. That's what a fascist
does. Or they use fascist tactics. They wear all black and they try to shut down free speech, things of that nature.
Right.
We want free speech unless you disagree with us.
Yeah.
And look, we want diversity unless you are conservative and you like guns.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And look, we got to condemn all political violence is wrong.
It is.
I got to say, if
all
you
violence should be wrong.
It should be wrong.
You should be able to live peacefully and be able to disagree.
We should,
without having to worry if someone's going to harm you or your family.
But let's be honest. Which party right now is soft on crime? It's the Democrats, right? Who's the ones attacking law enforcement and saying that law enforcement is evil or whatever?
Defund law enforcement.
Or defunding
they're
law
all
enforcement.
Bad guys. Yeah,
right.
They're demonizing them. They're bringing the rhetoric to a level in this nation where we have what we just saw a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
that's what's happening, and it's from the rhetoric.
And we have to condemn, Teddy. We've got to condemn it, right? And I always use the example. I've lived here a long time in Colorado Springs. I mentioned I was on the air. I was on air when we had the Planned Parenthood shooting, where that kook went into the Planned Parenthood.
And that was a far right situation,
and he shot him. Yeah. And I immediately
condemned it
immediately.
But then in Congress, and you experienced this when they tried to take the vote on the moment of silence for Charlie Kirk, you had people on the other side of the party yelling no, people on the other side of the party that voted it down.
Well, we had a resolution honoring the life of Charlie Kirk, condemning the violence.
How hard is that?
And we had 85, I think it was 85 Democrats who decided to either vote no or vote present on it. It is disgusting. And if you look at it, and we have to look at ourselves and make sure that we're consistent in the way that we do this.
We don't want to be hypocrites.
We don't want to be hypocrites.
Yes.
So I look back, we had, of course, the shooting of the state legislators in Minnesota.
Yes, that was horrible.
A few months ago. It was horrible. They both happened to be Democrats, though that person was not targeting only Democrats.
Correct. They were going house to house.
And he had Republicans on his list that he was going. But regardless, he shot and killed 2 Democrats, shot one
House Speaker, right? For the state.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we had a resolution in the Congress to condemn that, and then the vote was 400 and something to
every single member voted to get the vote to condemn it.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And so we've got to be able to stand up and have the courage to do that. When it's our side, we have to do it.
100%.
And free speech is the same way, right?
Yes,
it's not just these shootings. We have to defend free speech.
We do.
And we may not like it. Jimmy Kimmel. We've had this whole issue with Jimmy Kimmel. I can't stand Jimmy Kimmel.
I can't
at the same time,
I don't watch him. And you know what? If I don't want to hear him anymore and I don't want his show on, turn the channel. And eventually they'll get a clue and they'll turn him off. But I don't like government coming in, whether it's the FCC or somebody else coming in and saying, oh, we might tell Jimmy Kimmel that, he can't do this, or we might get Disney to get him off. That is wrong.
That gives the left firepower to say that this is fascist, because it's acting in that manner.
And Teddy, if they do that, if they're able to do that and they're successful on the First Amendment, why would they not be able to do it on the Second Amendment too?
Correct.
Government power is wrong if it's violating our rights.
I agree.
Yes, sir. And that brings me back to the Second Amendment. I do believe, and I want to talk about your hunting experience.
Yeah.
I know you're a big, huge outdoorsman hunter, but we also want to talk about the true intention of the Second Amendment, which is to protect us from tyranny.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't understand that. They like to equate it with hunting. They like to say, well, you don't need an AR-15 to go hunt deer. That, you know what? You may not, but I do need it for hogs, down in South Texas.
Sure.
But at the same time, that's not what it's about. It's about protecting us from a tyrannical government that may be trying to oppress us in the future. That was our founding fathers' intent. At least I believe that. I don't know what your belief is.
Of course. And the Second Amendment is very clear. And I always argue with people on the left who they say that the First Amendment is this pillar of virtue. And it is. Yeah. I love the First Amendment, right? The freedoms laid out in the First Amendment are sacrosanct.
Yes, sir.
Whether it's the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, or the others. But the same people who wrote the First Amendment wrote the Second Amendment.
I would say there's a reason the Second Amendment comes second. I believe it protects all the amendments. I believe that was its intent, was to protect the Bill of Rights, to make sure that it's enforceable.
Yes. But you better be able to back it up.
That's
what that meant. Well, that's what that meant.
That's right. Real. And let's be honest, our Constitution was forged. Yeah, our Constitution was forged out of a fight with the British government.
And what were they trying to do? They were trying to rush up to armories to steal cannons and ammunition.
Yes.
And then what was it? Attacks.
Right.
And then what happened? We said, no.
We said no, and they were also trying to have the king tell us how we could worship God and
Correct.
what we could say.
Yes.
And they wanted to tax us. So all of those things, I mean, the Second Amendment is so clearly that is the purpose. It is
know.
to have the citizens protect themselves.
And it's not like there's not plenty of documents on what the founding fathers' intent was with the Second Amendment. There's plenty of documents between the founding fathers writing about what their intent was, why they believe the Second Amendment is important. So it's not like this is just popped out of nowhere. It's not like they made a grammatical error either with militias and things of that nature.
No,
So.
they did not. They did not.
I'm going to just check out into the chat here. We have some really cool people out there in the live show. We have our friend Big Timber Lodge. Shout out to you, Big T. We appreciate you.
Thanks
You're
for being
always
here, Big
such a
Timber.
good guy to us. What's up, Will? The chainsaw's in the house. We love the chainsaw. We are seeing actively that the algorithms are not friendly to our mission. So for everybody out there, please like, share, comment, hit that bell, and watch the video the whole way through and support us. We really appreciate you coming out to promote our freedom of speech. And on that,
I feel like we need to get Congressman Crank a chainsaw, like a golden chainsaw to tear down some regulation.
I'm happy to do it.
Can we get chainsaw chains?
I think we can make that happen.
We do have two things going on right now. If you guys would like to support the Second Syndicate, we have two giveaways. One right now, if you head over to Give, Send, Go and go to Arm the Educators, you can find that, or you can find that in the links in all of our social medias, all of our platforms.
Yes.
That you can go, and for every $5 donation right now, it enters you into a giveaway that you could possibly win a custom 2011 Springfield that was engraved by our great friends at Damage Factory. Shout out to
Beautifully
them.
engraved with a bunch of patriotic symbols on it. It's gorgeous.
Yes, it's stunning. I'm
gorgeous.
hoping whoever wins it'll donate it back to us because it says the Second Syndicate on it. What we're doing right now with that funding is we are raising money to put educators through the Faster Colorado program. So what that means is that there's a program here. You can go see the last video that we had with Laura Carno. She is the founder of Faster Colorado. What they do is they provide the training to educate and arm any school staffers in the state of Colorado who want to exercise their right to carry firearms on school grounds to defend themselves and the children. And the tuition is about $1,000 plus the cost of equipment if they may or may not need that.
And that's something that we're trying to do as well. We're trying to offset the expense to a teacher who wants to volunteer to defend students' lives. We believe that there should be no cost for them. So not only are we funding their education, we also want to here at Spartan Defense fund their firearms, their equipment, everything possible at cost, so that there will be no expense for these educators to get armed.
And we want to also continue to support Faster because we realize that they're doing a great thing, but this is how we support local Colorado businesses. This is how we support improving not only gun culture, but humanize the right to self-defense because it has been in such significant attacks lately. So please go over and donate to that mission and enter to win the giveaway for the Springfield 1911. Also, we do have a free giveaway that's going on right now until Thanksgiving. We will share that information right now. I think that our chat just put the link to one of those. But if you go and follow us through our Gleamio, you are entered in to win a Springfield Echelon courtesy of Specialty Sport. Thank you, Jeff, over there. But that's free. So for every follow on all of our platforms through our Gleamio link, you are entered in to win that contest as well.
Absolutely. Guys.
Awesome. So back to you,
No,
Congressman.
wait, I have to ask you
Yeah.
Okay.
a question.
Sure.
So you mentioned Laura Carno.
Yes.
Do you know what was Laura Carno's first job in politics? Do you
I
know?
don't know that. I actually don't know the answer.
I
to that.
do.
I know you did the interview with
Do you
her.
She
know?
was on
You
your
don't know?
show.
She was the producer of my radio
I didn't
show.
realize that.
Yes, and
Small
look
world.
now she's famous, running Faster Colorado.
She's just awesome. She's
She
a
does a
fire
great
guy,
job.
man.
Laura's great.
This is exactly, I mean, you know, I do my best not to get religious and things of that nature because I don't want to alienate people that may
Sure.
maybe not be religious. But I've seen such the presence of God in my life lately because I'm a true believer. Like God always provides, and there's no such thing as coincidence. And it's moments like that where
coincidence
you're
at all.
like,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, you're always given the right people. He always provides the right people. It helps us all come together and support all the missions that we all believe in.
Yep.
So I'm very thankful for that. That's a wonderful
That's
tidbit of
right.
information.
Okay,
Shout out to Laura.
now I won't stop. Now I'll stop asking you questions and let you
Okay.
ask me questions.
Okay.
Well, I want to talk to you about your hunting background. I know you're
Yeah.
a big outdoorsman. I know
I
you
am.
love the
I am.
outdoors. So tell me
Yeah.
about it. Tell
Well,
me about
first of
what
all,
you do.
I would bore you to death if you let me show you all the pictures on my phone. I have a whole hunting album and all of that.
I hear you have a trophy over at Magnum South or Magnum North, I believe.
Actually, I have it to both. So
Okay.
the elk at Magnum South
Yeah.
belongs to me.
Okay.
I shot the elk at Magnum South. My son shot the oryx, or the gemsbuck, as it were, at Magnum South, and then I shot the moose that's up at Magnum North
you go.
here in Colorado Springs. So that's pretty cool. But no,
Maybe you should put up my deer in Spartan.
maybe you should.
Maybe.
Maybe you should.
Next one you have you don't want, bring on over. We'll put it up for you.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I've actually, it's pretty, I've got a bunch of tags I'm going. In fact, I'm
Okay.
supposed to be going moose hunting with my son this weekend, or
Nice.
this
What do
coming
you,
week,
what do you hunt
October
moose
1st.
with? What's your caliber of choice? What do you use?
I like a 300 Weatherby mag.
That makes sense. It's a good caliber
That's
for that.
just the gun I like. I just have a 300 Weatherby mag. I think should I say, I've probably killed
No, go ahead.
90 animals with that 300 Weatherby mag.
Nice.
I mean, lots of animals. My son he's got a 7mm mag that he likes. It was his grandpa's gun, and
That's so beautiful to me.
Isn't that cool? And that's what's so fun about guns, is like there's this family connection to them.
Yeah.
I have one rifle. It's a 30-06.
Sure.
I don't really use it much anymore because there's so many better calibers now than
For bigger
30-06.
game, yes.
But for me, my grandfather used that rifle to shoot elk with. My
So it's
dad
heirloom.
used it. I've shot elk with it, and my children have. Four
Wow.
generations
That's
with that one
beautiful.
gun.
That is beautiful.
Used it to hunt and provide for our family. We eat, we eat it. We live off of elk meat. That's pretty much all we eat at my
Grass fed.
house. Yeah, very
Nothing
grass-fed.
healthier than that.
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of people don't understand this about hunting. There's ways to get back to your community with hunting as well. So I'll give you an example. I have a friend who runs a cowboy church youth ministry down in Texas in Goliad. And what he does is he has an open meat locker for anyone in the community to come in and put their hunting meat that they're not going to use, that they want to give to the community. And there's an open door policy for anybody that's maybe in need to be able to come in and get
That's
that
awesome.
meat for subsistence.
Who
They
is
can
this?
feed their family. My buddy Waylon.
Oh, Waylon. Yeah.
Yeah, Waylon.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and look, hunting for me, and I'm sure there's a lot of people, and the Second Amendment isn't about hunting. We all get that and understand it,
100%,
but
yes,
there's
sir.
a lot of people who do hunt, and for me, it was always
It's food on the table.
It's food on the table, and it's a connection.
Life skills too.
So for me, my dad passed away
Well,
34
you
years
said you
ago.
had 5 children from your dad, your brothers and sisters?
Brothers and sisters.
Yeah, so
Yep.
5, and he was on a salary of 35,000. I mean, he had to feed you
35,000.
guys some way.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. But those were the greatest moments I ever spent with my dad.
Sure.
Was
Memorables.
out in the field hunting with him and my brother. And I hearken back to that 34 years ago he passed away, but I still very vividly remember those times. And I will tell you, I've passed that on to my kids. If you ask my son, who's 28 years old today, or my daughter, who hunts too, she's 22. She will tell you, oh, I remember Dad when we went to do this. I went antelope hunting last weekend with my son.
Yes.
And he 28 years old, and I got up and got in the bathroom. He was in another room. He came in, and as we passed in the hallway, he looked at me and he said, Dad, this is the coolest thing that I get to go hunt with you. When you got a 28-year-old
It's a real connection.
son,
It's a real bond.
yeah, exactly. And so for me, that's what hunting it has been about. And so it's about feeding my family and that sort of thing.
Making memories.
Totally making memories.
Let
But
me
I
ask-
won't bore you with all the pictures
Well,
That's not-
until after we're done.
I love that.
I definitely want to see some. And I also want to ask you, what's the most challenging kind of hunting for you? What is the one that's the most challenging that you've done as far as animals concerned?
Yeah.
What type?
Well, I did a bighorn sheep hunt.
Okay.
I guess
that's
about
fun.
5 or 6 years ago, and it was pretty challenging. I had a storm move
Lots
in
of
on
rucking?
me.
Lots
Oh
of-
man, it was something.
Where'd you do that at? Here?
Here in Colorado.
Yeah.
I actually did it down at Pinion Canyon,
Okay.
which
Okay.
is an Army maneuver site, and I drew that tag. And it took me, I think, 21 years to draw that tag. So I've been putting in for 21 years. Finally drew it.
How many tags do they give for bighorn sheep? I'm assuming not many.
Not many, and
Yeah,
I
it's
think
very
there were
minimal.
2 people who had ram tags in that area that year. So there's one other guy. I mean, I never ran into him. 170,000 acres or something. That
there's a lot of tags to go around. Also, as I don't want to get too off the beaten path with this, but Colorado introduced the gray wolf a few years ago for population control on animals, but we're still overpopulated on animals. Why not just open up the tags, allow more people to hunt,
allow more tags? And
exactly
to people who think that the wolf reintroduction is a good idea, I say to you, why do you hate elk? Why do you hate moose?
Why do you hate cattle and dogs?
Why do you hate cattle and dogs?
People.
Ranchers.
That's right. In Wyoming, they introduced the wolf back into Yellowstone many years ago.
Yes, they did.
From that time to today, the moose population in Wyoming is down 80%. 80% of the
now
moose
it's becoming almost endangered at this point.
That's right.
Where they have to go back and figure out what to do.
It's insanity.
It is.
Insanity.
It
And
doesn't
what
make
we're
any
doing to
sense.
our ranchers and livestock and pets, as you said, is just
Absolutely. It's
terrible.
horrible. Yeah, I met someone over the weekend at the CSSA event that lost their dog to a wolf attack, and they're not even allowed to defend their dog legally against it. It's crazy.
Because the state of Colorado doesn't value animals as property. Or they value animals as property. So
but they don't as family members. Or
no,
as,
you have to. You can't use
pets.
lethal force as from their perspective because they view pets.
I think that comes back to the old South Park episode where you just yell, "It's coming right for me," but we won't.
If you came into my Washington D.C. office, you would see the wolf pelt that I have actually hanging in my office. I have a wolf pelt from Alaska.
That's pretty cool.
I'm kind of proud of it,
That's
and it
awesome.
does occasionally trigger some people, so that's okay too.
I'm hoping you carry something like a 10 mil 44 mag when you're in Alaska backcountry or something.
I do.
44
mag.
cool,
If not, we'll
baby.
get you something new. All right.
I got a 44 mag for that.
Yes,
You
sir.
bet.
Well, cool. Let's talk about the Second Amendment a little bit. So we talked a little bit about your personal interpretation on the Second Amendment, that it's meant to defend against tyranny in this country. But let's talk about Colorado in specific. I know this is not your purview; you're on the federal level. But I mean, you've seen what's going on in here, Colorado. You see what's going on with your constituents. What do we do? What's advice from you? What can we do at this point?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's shameful what Colorado has done in attacking the Second Amendment, and I think we have a lot of things that we can do. We need to file lawsuits and we need to litigate it, and I know that that's happening, and that should continue to happen. The left is very good at using the court system to litigate and get social change or movement that way. We need to be equally as good.
Also, ballot props.
And ballot props. Absolutely. And ballot props. But look, I think at the end of the day, Colorado, and the Colorado that I grew up in, is not here anymore, and we've got to really fight to get that back.
I think there's still an existence of it. I think that it is waning, and I think that it's not gone just yet. But
No, it's not gone.
Hard.
It's not gone. We have to fight hard. And here's what we can't do.
People are waking up, though.
People are waking up. We cannot fight within the Republican Party.
100%. We were going to get to that, but that's definitely a topic I want to
So the other night at House District 14, we talked
Yes.
about Ava winning that,
Yes.
and she'll be great. But I said before I spoke, just before they announced the vote, I will support whoever wins. And that's what we've got to do.
We have to. The elections have consequences at the end of the day. Just because your guy didn't win doesn't mean you shouldn't support the person in office, because it's going to be to all of our detriment.
Yep.
I feel like Colorado is waking up. I just hope it's not like a boiling frog moment where the water's already boiling and it's too late.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can come together. We've got a great opportunity in 2026. We've got some great candidates running. I think we only need 6 seats in the Senate to flip the state Senate.
And to make people feel like we are making progress, we did make progress. If you look at where we were, we've hit the low mark. I think the low mark was probably 2022.
I mean, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. Yes.
So in 2024, we gained a congressional seat. We
did.
used to have it be 5-3. It's now 4-4.
And we
Gabe
picked up a
Evans
numerous
picked
amount
up
of
that
state
seat.
Senate
God.
and House seats.
We
Shout out
stopped.
to Gabe Evans. He's
That's
a really
right.
nice guy.
Gabe Evans is a great guy,
Yes.
and he's fearless. And I
is.
love Gabe, and he's a great Second Amendment supporter.
I'm actually on his advisory committee.
You are?
2A advisory committee.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
Gabe is a good. He's a good
guy.
man and a good friend. We stopped a super majority in the state Senate.
We did.
from happening.
One seat, but we did it.
One seat, but we did it. And they had a super majority in the House in Colorado, and we took it away.
We did.
By one seat.
Momentum's on our side. I would say, if
Momentum is
anything.
on our side, and it's the overreach from the left in Colorado. whether it is Second Amendment rights or parental rights,
Yes.
or
I agree.
so many things.
I would say
there
that
is the opportunity.
they have gone further. So I would say Colorado is not a blue state. It's definitely not a far red state. It's a purple state with more moderates in general here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conservatives too, a very strong voice conservatives out there as well. But I feel like our legislator definitely does not reflect that. You know, we see that in Congress. We definitely see that in the Senate, but we don't see that here at the state legislature. We have extremists in our state legislature that are running crazy bills. Like now it's illegal for us to accidentally misgender somebody. It's insane.
Yeah,
It's insane.
which of course is a violation of the First Amendment. and
I'm
that needs
waiting
to be
for that lawsuit.
litigated. Yeah,
I'm
it
waiting
is.
for that lawsuit.
And it is. It is. There's a church, a pastor here in Colorado Springs who actually
I
has
have a feeling
filed
I know
that
which
lawsuit.
church that
Really?
is. I think that church is suing every member of that church is suing the state at this point.
Good
but
for
I,
them.
God bless them.
Good for them.
I'm a plaintiff in a lawsuit against gun control.
great.
I'm the Garcia and Garcia versus Polis. And you cannot
3-day wait.
imagine against Colorado's unconstitutional 3-day waiting
Excellent.
period, HB 23-1219. And the issue with that is people don't realize how much you're sticking your neck out there and what it means to really fight back. It takes a lot of guts.
It does. And let me say, so Joe Kennedy was the coach, if you recall, a couple of years ago that prayed with his football team.
I do remember that,
And
he
he
got
was fired
for it.
And then he sued. It went to the U.S. Supreme Court,
It's
and they
First
won.
Amendment. That's crazy.
I interviewed Coach Joe Kennedy on my podcast
Nice.
a few years ago, and I told him at the end, I said, Joe, you're a hero. And you're a hero because you didn't do this for Joe Kennedy.
No.
You did it for the free speech
the
rights
people.
of every single person in America. And that's what you're doing, too. You're not
Absolutely.
doing this for you. You're doing it for the Second Amendment rights of every single Coloradan. And
Well, I'll
quite
tell you, we're
frankly,
definitely
in
not
federal
doing it.
court, every American.
You
We're
know who
definitely
I'm
not doing it for us with how we get treated by some of the
No.
people on the other side.
Of course not. Of course not.
You
You're
know-
a target.
well, here's the thing is, I've always been one of those people that says, if not me, then who? If
Yeah.
not now, then when?
That's right.
And I just got tired. I just got tired of all the nonsense and everybody making excuses. And it's like, if I can do this, so can you. And I really appreciate when people come out to support, people like me who take a stand. Like my friend Israel Del Toro with the lawsuit against SB 25003.
Have you met
We have-
Israel yet?
We
I
have
have.
the same
Okay. I have. Yep.
attorneys, Mountain States Legal Foundation.
Yeah.
So for all you guys out there, Mountain States Legal Foundation is doing my case in conjunction with Rocky Mountain Gun Owners for the 3-day waiting period pro bono. So donate to Mountain States Legal because they are
Give them
sticking
the
their
funds.
neck out there. And
They're the
speaking
only
of-
law firm that's getting effective results too. They just won the 7-day wait in New Mexico, and
Yes.
they just won against the excise tax in Illinois recently.
And we will have my attorney, Michael McCoy, on our show next week, Wednesday, live, who is my representation for the 3-day wait. So we want to give everybody an update because of the ruling that happened in New Mexico. And I said, well, why don't we just take it to the source? So we will have him on the show next week. So hopefully you guys will tune in next week to hear all about that.
Someone just commented, Colorado is full. I hear Kansas is nice next door. Maybe we should put up some road signs for Democrats to head to Kansas or something.
Only come to Colorado if you're pro 2A, please.
That's right.
We do have a comment and a question from one of our audience members, Will Long, who is our friend in the Chainsaw Caucus. He wanted to know if you will vote to end the NFA and preempt state violations if it comes up.
So federal preemption would be.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You're aware.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Yeah. I'm for preempting. Federal preemption of these
too.
of these laws. Absolutely, I will vote
Awesome.
for it. And
We
love
used to have preemption here in Colorado, and they took it away. They
Yep.
voted it out.
And I
State
do.
preemption, but yes,
State
yes, we did.
preemption.
Yes,
Yeah, we did, and but I'm for federal preemption, and
Absolutely.
I think, and obviously we can get into some of the great laws that we're trying to get passed in the Congress. We need,
Yeah, I would like
we may
to-
need more votes in the Senate, but we're gonna push them
Let's
anyway.
if you want to talk about them?
Yeah,
You
we
got time?
can, sure.
let us know some of your
Absolutely.
initiatives that you have going on. That's coming up
Well,
here.
obviously, I'm a supporter of and a co-sponsor of the right to carry reciprocity bill.
National reciprocity. Yes,
National
sir.
reciprocity bill. That's an important one. SAGA, the Second Amendment Guarantee Act. I'm
Yes.
a co-sponsor of that, and that's critical for Colorado,
That's good.
right? That would basically say there can't be state laws that are more stringent
Than federal.
law.
That's how it
on
was
guns.
intended to be. I
That's-
believe.
That's exactly how it was. So I'm a co-sponsor of that, and I actually am hopeful that we'll get a vote on that bill. A lot of these we can get through the House, but
It's
again,
the
the
Senate.
Senate is a tough.
the Senate. We have 53 and we need 60, right?
Yep, we sure do. The Veterans Second Amendment Protection Act. This one is crazy. You know, we have veterans who were going to the VA and getting sort of financial assistance classes, or, you know, kind of learning maybe how to balance your checkbook. And the Biden administration was turning those folks in and trying to prevent them
Basically
from ever
red
being
flagging
able.
them.
Yeah, red flagging them. Exactly.
That's
so we've
insane.
got legislation to stop that nonsense.
I just mentioning Biden. Didn't mean to cut
Yeah.
you off, but I just saw something hilarious today. I saw that Trump put the picture of Biden.
saw the auto pin.
It was the auto pin, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
that
Everybody
was.
else is who they are, and then Biden's picture is the auto pin.
Yeah, that was right on the colonnade from the White House over to the Oval
Control
Office.
level
And I've
1000.
walked down that. It was so great. Yeah, that was.
I love
so
that
great.
he's standing.
You know that came from him too.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
that was
you know.
100% him.
Yeah, it'd be great to put an auto pin there. Yeah,
Really,
I can
really
hear that.
That's a good impression. I
That'd
like
be the
that.
greatest.
I think you did
Greatest
better
thing
than
I've ever done.
If you ever
I think
get,
you did
if
better
you
than
meet
Don Jr.
Donald
there.
Trump, you tell him I'm his biggest fan. I actually met Donald Trump way back when in the '80s when I was
Yeah.
a kid.
Yeah.
Because I went to the Macy's Day Parade because Michael Jackson was there,
Oh, really?
and I was a huge. I still am a huge,
still
like,
are, like,
retarded
jeez.
Michael Jackson
Jeez, guys.
fan.
Okay,
The moment that beat dropped,
let's not go down on the Michael Jackson path.
But
Well-
I met Trump way back then, and I'm like, I know he probably would
Yeah.
never remember, but I'm like, I just want to meet him again. I'm like, so
You know, and I will just say, I've met him a few times. He called me during the campaign, endorsed me. He's endorsed me again for my reelection. But
he's
my
the only
wife and
president I ever want to meet.
he's very entertaining. I will tell you, my wife and I were in the Oval Office, and we're sitting or standing by the desk, the Resolute desk, and the president was sitting there.
Sure.
And we were talking, and I love this story, but you know the coins, like
Yes.
some of the
Yeah,
coins
the
you-
giant coin.
yeah, and
I
he's
saw
got
your
that
coin.
coin. Yeah, you saw the coin. And of course, he puts it out in his hand, and he's got one for me and one for my wife, and he holds it out and says, "Here, take these before I change my mind." That was
Yeah,
great.
I still have my picture holding your coin.
Oh,
I'm
great.
like, yeah.
Oh, good. Good.
I'm like,
yeah.
that was so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have the one here, and I've got one in Washington D.C. So, Hearing Protection Act.
Yes, sir.
Right. We
Yes.
got to get that one through, and I was
Yes.
pleased. Look, I was disappointed that we didn't get that put into
Big Beautiful Bill.
Beautiful Bill.
I understand there was limitations. in
There's
the ability-
limitations in the
Yeah.
Senate because
Yes.
the Senate drives all of that. The parliamentarian,
Correct.
I don't agree with their ruling, but that was their ruling. We couldn't put it in. It would have brought the whole bill down.
Sure.
But I am still a co-sponsor of the Hearing Protection Act. We need to get that done. Obviously, the $200 thing is gone.
It's gone, but we
we
still have
gotta
to do a
get
lot
the
of excess
registration
paperwork.
and stuff gone. All the paperwork gone.
Yes.
It should be gone.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I agree. It should be. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a suppressor. In my opinion, is not a firearm. It's literally a tool. It makes it
It's actually
safer to
safer.
shoot. It's actually. I mean,
Totally.
in Europe and in countries in Europe, you can buy suppressors over the counter.
Yep.
It's not a highly regulated item. So
Yeah,
why are
absolutely.
we backwards compared?
Yeah,
to that?
we're totally backwards
Doesn't make
compared
sense.
to them. Yeah, totally. And then the last one is the Public Access to Hunters and Anglers Act, and that stops the banning of lead ammunition, right? Because there's so many people that shoot.
Yes, and you have to
That's-
shoot with steel if
You
you're
have
in
to
water
shoot
and
with
things of that
steel and
nature.
all that kind of stuff. So that's another one that we're working on. So those are some of the really good, I think, pro Second Amendment pieces of legislation that we're
Those would be
working on at
good.
the
Do
federal
you have
level.
any traction with anybody on the other side of the aisle, or are they just completely shut off and road
You know,
walking?
there's occasionally someone who will
I'm pulling up one
help
I
us
like.
out. I think Henry Cuellar from Texas.
Okay.
He's kind of a conservative
has to
Democrat.
be in
He
Texas,
has to
but
be in
yeah,
Texas. You know, he'll do it, but there's almost no one over there. Now,
insane.
it'll be interesting to see Fetterman in the Senate. John Fetterman.
He's been surprising me a lot lately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is, and he's actually a pretty good politician because if you think about it, like Pennsylvania is very kind of 50-50.
Yeah, it went Trump though this last. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's putting himself. He's going to be tough to beat probably because
Correct. 'Cause of the stance
he's a
he's taking.
Democrat, but he's voting more like a Republican.
I mean, just look at how Manchin stayed in power in West Virginia.
Yeah,
for
that's
so
how
long.
Manchin did it,
Yeah.
and they should have beat him
Absolutely.
years ago.
They
And
should have.
I'm glad he's not there anymore.
Yeah, me too.
I know that there is the Protecting Privacy and Purchases Act
Yep.
that was introduced. I know it was introduced last year by Stefanik out of New York. I don't know where it is. I was just trying to look it up on my phone.
It's nowhere. It's introduced,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I think I'm a co-sponsor. That I'll have to find out. Look,
Because-
you've already got it. You've got it pulled up
well,
there.
I
huh?
care about it because
Yeah.
the state of Colorado passed a bill
To be
that.
able to track the transactions on firearms.
So what they do is they flag your gun purchases. So that's basically your credit card companies here on the state
Yep.
level are narking you out
Yep.
because they're saying, hey, we're going to flag your purchases in gun shops. And what we can do is we can say, hey, you know what? This person is building an arsenal, which by what definition is that?
They
Right?
consider a couple hundred rounds of ammunition and a few firearms to be an arsenal.
Exactly. So
least the
what they
news
can
does.
do is they can flag you to be investigated by the government,
Yeah.
which it's just another
Now-
way of saying we're gonna, we're
Backdoor-
violating your privacy.
It's backdoor gun registration.
It is.
It is, and it's to me, you look at the First Amendment and the Second Amendment, and that's what they did. That's what the government did right during COVID. Is they used Google, Facebook,
Yes.
all these other folks to censor,
They
but
did.
but it was the government who was telling them to censor.
Absolutely.
And the
We
Supreme
just saw that
Court,
with Biden and I think Google recently, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
and the Supreme Court ruled that in the Missouri case that was wrong. That's a violation of the First Amendment. And that's what's happening here is you've got the government putting pressure on these financial institutions, whether it's to track purchase of ammos, or ammunition or guns,
Yep.
or whether it's loaning money to firearm manufacturers or others. Government's job is not to put gun manufacturers or gun stores out of business.
No, it's not.
That's not their job.
That's
It's a
their
violation of
intent
the
to
Second
get
Amendment.
around the Second Amendment, I think, is
Absolutely.
to go after us, to go after the manufacturers, the business owners. That's what they're doing here in Colorado with,
Yep.
with Prop KK, with the 6.5% excise tax, with the new state licensing. They're trying to make so much red tape that it's almost impossible to effectively be profitable in this industry.
Yeah,
Agreed.
exactly. And once they figure out they can't go after firearms themselves,
Yes.
then they just say, well, then we'll go after the ammunition because
Yes, that's next. I
you
mean,
know,
you saw
how
that in
good-
California. They
Right.
did background checks on ammo.
yeah. And
Yeah.
how good is a gun if you don't have ammo?
That's right.
Right.
That's
Well,
right.
they
Or they
passed
put an
that here
impossible
also.
tax.
Yeah.
They passed that here also in 2025 that they raised the cost to purchase ammo to 21. So
Or
now
the-
you have
the-
to be
yeah, the age.
you have to be old enough now 21 to be able to buy a gun, any gun in Colorado
Yeah.
now. Now you have to be 21 to purchase ammunition, and we have rumors right now that Stephen Woodrow, who is a horrible human being, and you heard it here first. I don't care what he says. He is trying
he's
to
your best
probably.
buddy. I hear
Oh
he's a
yeah,
super
he's
fan.
such a great guy.
Yeah.
He looks like a weasel.
Oh.
He does.
You're not wrong.
He does.
Oh my
So he seriously, the dude quoted 18th century slave law in response to my testimony when we were talking about raising the requirements for concealed handgun permits, and his response was quoting slave law from the 18th century.
That's
But
insane.
we have rumors that he wants to pass on the very first day of
Suppressor
the
bill
legislative
and
session
Marbury bill.
to ban suppressors in the state of
Yeah.
Colorado. So we're doing our best to figure out if that indeed he is. His aides or nobody will return our calls. They don't want to talk to us about it. So
We're always
Well-
willing to have a conversation with the other
always
side.
willing to have a conversation.
And
I'm
that's
not going to
what-
say I like you, but I want to hear what you have to say.
That's what they've done. That's what they've done in Colorado is, everything that we pass in Congress, frankly, they hate Donald Trump so much.
Yeah.
It's a hatred of Trump.
Agreed.
That they hate him so much that whatever we pass in Congress, we passed no tax on overtime.
Yep.
They come
They
in
come
the
in and
state
tax it.
legislature and say, well, we're going to tax overtime.
In an
They're
emergency
doing the same
legislative
thing.
session.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about the hypocrisy
Yeah.
of that. The Democrats have always said that the Republicans like to give tax breaks to the wealthy and tax the poor.
Yeah.
But they just did the exact
They did the
opposite
exact
of
same
that.
thing. In our bill, we did no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, a child tax credit.
Crazy.
We increased the child tax. But that's what they do, and they're doing the same thing here on the Second Amendment. We do the, take the $200 tax out
Yeah.
on the
They're gonna add
suppressors,
it.
and they're going to add something
ban it
back in, or
altogether.
ban it altogether.
We'll see.
Yep.
Yeah, crazy.
So now we got Ava Flanell
Oh, is she jumping?
Nope.
Oh, no. Okay, I thought she was.
in office.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that girl.
She'll be great. She's going to be awesome.
I hope
She won't
she's
put up
gonna.
with any crap. We'll put it that way.
Well, I hope she's gonna go hard because it
she
really
will.
means a lot to the people.
It does.
She's got a lot of pressure on her, and
Yeah.
we want to
And
do
I'm,
everything
let me
we can
say,
to reach
if I
out to her and
can,
help
I
her
want to
out.
say I'm
Yeah.
very proud of Ava. I knew Ava's mother,
Oh.
who
Didn't realize
was
that.
killed
Yeah.
many years ago.
Yeah.
I know her dad very well. And I told Ava the night that she won this, I said, your mother would be super, super proud of her. Because her mother was very involved in politics,
She
was
was.
a very strong supporter of the Second Amendment. So,
Well,
Yeah,
we're,
and
we're here to
I'll also
support her
give
and,
it to her.
and help her.
I mean, most people know Ava and her family,
Mm-hmm.
but she didn't use that. at all, the
No.
campaign. She didn't want to. She wanted to rise to the occasion on her own
Yeah.
record, which
Yep.
I thought was, to me, that impressed the hell out of me.
Yeah, she did well.
Absolutely.
So shout out to her. We're gonna do our best to support her, and we need everybody to come out and support, not only on state level, but federal level as well. We to help you. So tell us, how
Make sure
can
this
we
man
help
gets
you?
back in office, people.
And what do you need from us? Because we still have a whole bunch of questions I want to ask. too.
Okay.
Yeah, we're running low. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Well, if there's one thing I can do, it's fill time on a podcast.
Yes, sir.
So anyway,
Good.
well, how can you help me? Look, I mean, I've got a race coming up, and I will tell you, here in El Paso County, they're coming after us. I
yeah.
mentioned this the other night. I've got
They want to break the conservative stronghold.
Yeah, they do. I've got an opponent who worked for the Joe Biden administration. Was a senior advisor to Joe Biden and was the chief of staff to Kamala Harris's husband.
Cute.
And what he
was
means
moved
by
here.
worked for is ran the Joe Biden
So they
administration.
moved here just so they can mess with the election.
Moved here, has not lived here in 30 years, but moved here and
Wow.
bought a $3.6 million mansion in the Broadmoor area, paid cash for it, like
Very posh.
like any of us would be able
Any
to
normal
do. Any
peon,
normal
you know.
person like us would be able to just do that. But moved here is raising gobs and gobs of money, and they're here to say, hey, we're going to take El Paso County. We can't let them do that,
Can't let
and
them
we're
do
not going to let them do it.
El
Either.
Paso, I will say this: if El Paso County falls, we have lost the state.
We have
That
lost
is
the state,
officially
yep.
the no coming back. The Rubicon has been crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever you can do to help on that is great, and we're gonna walk as a group of Republican candidates. We're gonna walk. We're gonna get out the vote, and we're gonna do everything we can to
Absolutely,
to
guys. I mean, those of us that are viewing right now, if you're under 40, you can join the Young Republicans. If not, you can get involved with the El Paso Republican Party.
You can join the old Republicans.
You can join the old Republicans. If not, get involved with the El Paso Republican
right.
Party.
Are we members of that?
I guess we are, because I'm old. I'm like, you're not old enough. I'm like,
I'm still slightly a young Republican. I'm almost there. But well, regardless of that, we really do appreciate you coming out tonight.
I have a good question for you.
Yeah, yeah.
I have. We wrote this down so I wouldn't forget. But what's one thing you want people to know about your work in Congress that they might not already know that you are doing?
Wow, and that's an interesting question. Working to build bridges with so many people in Congress. Congress is a very social institution. I don't know how you'd go there without being someone who likes to make
Engage.
friends and
Yeah.
engage and build coalitions.
Yes, sir.
Mike Johnson is the speaker, strong on the Second Amendment, constitutional attorney. He's a great guy.
He's definitely good at wrangling votes.
He's
because
very good at wrangling
with the
votes.
majority he was handed, it's a tough job.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
I used to call him Magic Mike Johnson because of Magic
Mike.
Johnson, but I actually call him Miracle Mike because I really
That's
believe
better.
that in some ways he's sort of divinely inspired to do it. But I don't ever here's something I work on. I don't ever bother Speaker Johnson about, because every member's down there, I need this, I need this, I need that. I pray for Mike Johnson.
Oh,
And he knows that I do that. Once in a while, I'll write out a scripture to encourage him, and I go down on the House floor and I hand it to him because it's a tough job. He's under the gun every single day. They're after Mike Johnson.
He is.
So I pray for him. I pray for our leaders. That's one thing I'm doing in Congress that probably people don't know.
that's very kind of you. That's very wonderful of you. And so, just to piggyback off of that, I got a message from a friend today on Instagram, and his message was, "How can I pray for you today?"
Yeah.
And I was like, we really need to do this more for
We
each
do.
other.
People come to me, I go to church and people tell me, and it's not just my church, but I visit churches all the time in the district, and people will say, oh, we're praying for you. And I tell them, man, I feel it. I feel your prayers. My wife and I feel it.
Yeah.
I'm never going to complain. I got the greatest job in the world. This is great. But the prayer is certainly helpful because it does lift us up. You know, we see everything that goes on. There's, safety concerns. This isn't a wonderful business for
Indeed.
family to see what's happening. So just praying for all of our safety, Democrats and Republicans, all of us.
Yes.
Like we are not a country that espouses political violence.
No, we don't
Pray
want
for all
violence.
of
We don't
us.
want death. We don't.
Exactly.
I'm tired of it.
We don't pray for anyone's death or harm.
You got it.
And that's the whole point of us raising money to help support Laura Carno's mission,
Yep.
is because it's like we can't wait for more bills to pass or hoping that, people are going to do something. We
if
have to
something-
work in our communities right now
I wonder if
to
there's-
make change.
I wonder if there's something that the Department of Education could do about that. Maybe funding grants for organization like Carnos. I don't know. Just a thought to put out there, because
Well, there's a lot of counties like Denver County that won't allow the FAFSA program
they won't.
in there.
And I'll go ahead and put out there that there hasn't been a single mass shooting at a school in which
had the
there was
FAFSA.
either concealed carry on campus, or that had the FAFSA program, or that had armed educators.
Yep.
You don't see that.
Well, we just
On
had that
staff.
school shooting a couple of weeks back where
Correct.
the school resource officer had
vacation.
left campus.
But we also know that a resource officer isn't always enough, because
That's
people
right.
know who they are. They know when they're there and they're not there.
Yep.
But yes.
Exactly.
Yes,
but
sir.
but that particular shooter waited until that school resource officer left and then
took
came
their
in and
chance.
took their chance. Yeah.
Which,
Exactly.
by the way, with the gun control argument, are they going to come after revolvers now, since he used a revolver in that situation?
Well, they probably are going to answer your question.
don't doubt it.
Unfortunately.
don't
I
doubt
honestly feel like
Yeah.
they're wanting to turn Colorado into a safari state. They want to say, you know what, guns are only for hunting, so we're going to ban everything.
Right.
And then we're going to say we're going to ban hunting. So once we do that, there's no reason for people to have firearms in Colorado. So please get involved in local politics,
Fight
folks.
back.
So-
Fight back.
We don't have a whole lot of time.
Yep.
And I know that you're on a schedule too, and I want to talk about something that we didn't get to all of our topics tonight, but I did want to talk to you about the Republican Party here in Colorado.
Yeah.
Because you said something earlier about unity, and there are a lot of factions in the conservative movement, whether it be the Libertarian, the Republican Party, etc. There's some that are working together. There's some that are working separate. But I feel like that's to our own detriment, because that's what Democrats want. They want us fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have anything that you can say to those out there watching to maybe bring people together, what we need to do in order to be successful? Like, what are your thoughts on
Yeah.
the division here?
Well, first of all, I mean, we all get frustrated when somebody in the Republican Party doesn't hold up the values and principles that we think they should be upholding and that we voted for them for. And I always try to do that. I'm not perfect, so I may let people down somewhere along the way. I think I haven't done that yet, but
Well, you're not going to be perfect.
yeah.
No one's capable
nobody's
of
going to
perfection.
be right.
It's an unachievable
I don't
goal.
know.
Oh,
But I would say this, Alicia, maybe Alicia. I would just say this. I think we have to. I'd rather have somebody who is with me 90% of the time than elect someone who is going to be opposed to me most of the time.
absolutely.
right?
Or someone unelectable to the majority of the public.
Someone unelectable. And so I would say this. I mean, I appreciate the people who say, I'm in the Republican Party to hold people accountable. Well, you know what? The Republican Party is there to elect Republicans.
That's right.
It's not there for any other purpose.
Correct.
If you want to hold people accountable, go join one of the gun groups. Go join the NRA. Go join some group out there
Sure.
that holds elected officials accountable.
Correct.
The second syndicate, right? You can do that. Go join one of those groups because their job is to hold elected officials accountable, Republicans and Democrats. The purpose of a Republican Party is simply to say, these are our Republican candidates, and we're going to elect them.
Yes, sir.
Now, so if you don't like somebody and they're in a
That's what
primary,
primaries are for.
That's what they're for.
Absolutely.
But so we've got to get away from this idea that the party itself is there to simply hold us accountable. I have no problem being held accountable.
Sure.
But I do have a problem with the Republican Party being used
As a way to do that.
as a way to do that. And I
That's what our
say that
constituents are for, right?
that's
what your
right.
constituents
And
are.
I say that as a person who, in my primary last year, my opponent was using party funds to run ads against me. That was wrong. The party should never be used.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
To
They
do
shouldn't
that.
take sides in a primary. 100%.
That's right.
That's
and
not
I
right.
would never use, now that I'm an incumbent, I would never say, well, I want the party to do this and go after my primary opponent. No. I would never want that. So
Well, it's a series of taking. I'm going to take my ball home and not play
Yeah.
anymore, and that's not going to win us anything here in Colorado.
right.
Yeah.
And we look at like Rebecca Kelty in House.
I love her.
Yeah, she's great.
She's a firecracker.
But
yeah.
she won by 2 votes.
Three.
Three votes.
Yeah.
3 votes.
Yeah.
It was me that won it because I went to a house and got her 4 votes.
Oh,
Did you do the same thing? Did you walk for her?
No, I
you
wish
didn't?
that I did.
Oh, I told Rebecca that. She goes, no, I went to a house and got 4 votes. But that's the great thing about it. Anybody can say that. Ava won by 2 votes the other
did.
night, right?
Yes, she did.
So it really matters to
If
get
you don't
involved.
think your vote matters,
If
it
you don't
does.
think it doesn't matter,
It
right?
does.
So we need to hold we need to hold people accountable through these outside groups and all of that. But
But we also need to back the candidates that win.
We have to back candidates, and once a primary is over, get behind them because the alternative is going to be the Democrat, and they're not going to be pro
What
gun.
we want in this state, guys. Right. How radical they are, and that you should see the bills that came up that did not go forward because of time that they're planning to do this legislative session. If you think that this last year was bad, wait till this year.
Yep.
Wait till this upcoming year.
And
Yep.
keep in mind, the Second Syndicate, we work with everybody. We work with the CSSA.
Any
We work
2A
with
organization.
RMGO. We work with ourselves. We work with anybody that wants to work with us. So it's not about,
Right.
we're playing favorites or we believe one person's better than anything.
Our
The
goal
more
is to have a
people-
big open tent.
Well, not only that, but the more people that we have, the stronger that we are. If you don't resonate with us, maybe you'll resonate with one of our fellow organizations, but get involved.
And
Get involved.
you are doing amazing work by doing that. By saying we are for the Second Amendment, and we don't care if you're support the Second Amendment. We're going to work with you.
You want to hear something?
That is defending the Second
You want to hear
Amendment.
something surprising? This legislative session, 2025, we had socialists show up against 003.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, we had the
kinda love
socialists. I think I'm not a socialist. I'm the exact opposite. But they showed up in
The Socialist Party of
correct,
Colorado.
in opposition to 003.
Wow.
So it was interesting to see that and to see that kind of coalition
Yeah.
be able to come together on a single issue, even though we adamantly disagree on every other issue there possibly is.
Yeah.
That specific issue they were able to support, which was interesting.
Yeah.
Which was
Oh,
interesting.
Will also says that Kelty signed the Liberty Pledge as well. That was a district that was lost by hundreds of votes in the election
Correct.
before.
The
And
libertarians did help back her and make
Yes.
sure that they did not
Yeah.
pirate or
And it made a
take votes
difference.
away, which was great.
She would have lost if that didn't.
100%, three
Yeah.
votes.
Sure.
Yeah, all it would have taken was three people to say, "Oh, I'm going to vote for the libertarian candidate,"
Yep.
and she would have lost.
She would have
Well
lost.
done.
Yep.
So that's great. It's
Well
good
done.
to see. It's good to see the LPCO and the Colorado Republican Party able to work together in some way where they can agree. Because on most issues, they probably agree 60-70% of the time.
Exactly.
So yeah, let's
strategic
let's play
alliance
to
is
win.
very important
Let's play to
right
win.
now. And that's what I'm saying is like, you in politics, we don't have to like each other. I'm not asking you guys to hold hands and skip or
Well, wasn't
really
that all?
like each
Wasn't that
other.
what Charlie Kirk was about?
Yes.
He was about conversations. He's about sitting down and agreeing where you could agree and disagreeing on other things, and been having a conversation about it, which is huge. If we take away anything from the life of Charlie Kirk and the preachings of that he put out there in so many college communities in so many ways, we can take away that we need to be able to band together in order to fight back against tyranny, and that's the only way we're going to be successful. And we also need to have hard conversations.
Yeah.
We're not going to agree on everything, but we need to be able to have the conversation.
and still realize that,
Be
just
respectful.
because I don't like you or just because I disagree with you, that doesn't mean I'm here to harm you or rob you of your liberties either. Like freedom is dangerous.
It
You know,
is.
it's dangerous freedom. And unfortunately, it's free to be a piece of crap. It's free to be a racist. It's free to be hateful. It's free to be ugly. But you know what also is free? This right here, your ability to resist and your ability to say no. Don't force your will on me. You stay over there and you could be a POS over there.
think
And
it
great,
was- I think it
leave
was
me
Benjamin-
alone. And that's what
yeah.
we're really fighting for is
Yep.
the ability for people to resist and hold tyrants accountable.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly. 100%.
Heck yes.
I think it was Benjamin Franklin that said we shouldn't sacrifice liberty for security, something along that nature. Yeah, and I
Absolutely.
think that's a huge point. But we do need to wrap up. We need to move on. To
Why?
the last.
We love you, Crank.
We do love you.
Okay. Well, thank
You
you.
just want to stay here all night and
Thank
keep
you.
talking?
I would be more than happy to do that. They might not like it,
No,
but
they probably-
I'd be happy to do it.
You're good. You're good. But we have some standard questions we like to
Yes.
ask at the end of every
All
single
right.
show that we do. And I'll let Alicia do these because this is her thing.
It's not our thing. It's
It's
thing.
our thing, but I'll let you do it.
So, what is your like holy grail, your dream gun? Like, NFA, none of that stuff, none of that nonsense matters. In true freedom of America, if you could have one gun,
Short barrel rifle.
okay, you just want to SBR it.
Just SBR. Pay no tax. Don't have to register it. Great for home security.
Suppressed.
Very fun to shoot. Right. That'd be my dream.
All right.
Yeah. There you go.
All right.
And then, do you have an everyday carry? Is there a gun that you
I
tend to
do.
carry?
I have two. And it depends on
Your outfit.
my outfit. That sounds kind of
No,
it doesn't.
that's the way it
That's
should be.
the way it
because
should
that's
be.
the way it
That's the
should
way
be.
it should have
So-
more than one EDC.
when I'm just like wearing jeans and casual or whatever. I actually like the Springfield Hellcat. That's what I carry most
Okay,
of
I
the
carried
time.
one of those for years. They're
The
great
nine
guns.
9mm.
Yes, sir.
When I have to wear a suit and I have to wear a sport coat and suit pants and all that stuff, which sadly I have to do a lot. The Smith and Wesson Bodyguard.
Okay.
Just because it's
Small, compact.
Small.
You just got that
compact.
gun.
Do you?
Shout out to Thresher
Do you
Firearms.
like it?
I love it.
Yeah, it's a good. It's a
I
good
went
little
and
carry.
dialed it in this past Sunday after my class. All my students were done shooting, and I'm like, okay, after the students are done, I get to bust a couple caps, and that
Yeah.
was my first time shooting it.
Yeah.
And I was shooting a little to the left, and it's like because I need to put a little bit more pressure in the way I'm holding it because
It
I'm like,
likes to ride up because of
Yeah.
that short barrel.
Yeah,
but
it is.
I love it.
It's
I
a
call
great
it- I call
gun.
him the old
Yeah.
noisy cricket, from Men in Black. It's basically what it is, but it'll get the job done. It'll get
That's
the job
right.
done.
You
I
got
love
it.
it.
You got
What
it.
is your favorite Second Amendment quote, if you have one?
Or
Well,
a quote that you can leave us with from yourself.
Or something that you want to leave us with, if it's scripture, something
Look,
that you want people to remember.
I would say it's Charlton Heston's famous off-the-cuff line of "You can take my gun when you pry it from my cold dead hands."
Wonderful.
I mean, I love that one. And,
Wonderful.
Yes.
I love Charlton Heston.
He's
too.
awesome.
Yep.
We have no
he's
problem
an
with
awesome actor.
the way that you think, Congressman. We're really
Well, thank you.
appreciative. Thank you so much for blessing our show today.
Oh.
It's an honor for us to have you. We're definitely going to have you stay afterwards so we can get a photo.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a
100%.
photo for you with us because,
Yeah.
we know each other.
We know
now.
each other. That's right. We're best buds. Well, look, no, it's an honor to be with you, and it's an honor to represent you in Congress. I mean,
appreciate you.
great honor of my life, as I said, and I'll always try and stay true to the Constitution and to the Second Amendment.
We really appreciate that. Tell everybody out there where they can find you, where they could donate you, and where they
Sure.
can support you.
Well, for my campaign, you could go to jeffcrankforcongress.com. You can either do Jeff Crank FOR Congress.com or Jeff Crank the number 4 Congress.com. And would love to have your support and your financial contribution. You can make it right there. And so you can follow my official account on Instagram and things like that. And then I have sort of my political one, which is up on the screen, I think, at Jeff Crank. So,
We'll get all those links on there for you,
yep,
sir.
that'd be great.
And
And
Carl,
it
our
also-
media guy, is putting them in the chat right now for everyone.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And for those that can't financially contribute, we understand, but see if you can door knock for them. See if you can get out there and get involved. We cannot let Colorado Springs fall.
Time is
This is
valuable as well. It's worth a lot.
Well, guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. I hope everybody got something from this episode. I hope that your questions were answered. If not, definitely send them to us, and we can always do them in a future episode. God bless you all. God bless you. Keep watching the Second Syndicate. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe, and share this episode.
And show up next week as we have my attorneys at Mountain States Legal discussing Garcia versus Polis, a 3-day waiting period to obtain your firearm in Colorado, and how New Mexico's 10th Circuit Court ruling affects us. So thank you so much. Stay safe, stay strapped.
God bless.
Peace out.